Hi, I'm Money Coach Chris, and this is Money Clarity Conversations. I help people develop emotional intelligence around money using their financial attachment styles. Because most money problems aren't actually about numbers, they're about patterns. So if you ever felt stuck, overwhelmed, or like you're doing everything right and it's still not working, you're in the right place. We're going to talk about how your past, your relationships, and your patterns with money are shaping the way you handle it so you can start working with yourself instead of against yourself. So I find a lot of times that people that have inconsistent income, like realtors, entrepreneurs, anybody that has a commission-based type of income, struggle financially because they are not really understanding who they are with money, how they're attached to money, what their financial attachment style is. And when you're in this space of inconsistent income, like specifically realtors, you might have a $50,000 month and then no money for 3 to 4 months or whatever insert amount here is. And depending on your attachment style, your financial attachment style with money, you could either, if you're an experienced creator, oh, I have all this money, let me go do these things. And it's hard because when you don't know how you're attached with money, you can't create consistent rules and boundaries that help you become more consistent with your money, create consistent habits and rituals with your money. And it's a little bit harder too to really shift from, hey, this is a job that I created for myself to this is my business. So I find that I help really well with people in that type of income, with its being inconsistent because of allowing people to really fully understand how they're attached to money and then helping them to get clarity on where they're at, what they want to accomplish, and how we can create structure around their planning. And a lot of times I find that people that have inconsistent or unpredictable income, the patterns that show up is really based on what their financial attachment style is. So if they're somebody that is a freedom facilitator, they don't want to look at their money, they don't want to talk about their money, they really don't pay attention to what's happening. They'll just be like, oh, everything's going to work out without creating the rules and boundaries with their money. The same time, if somebody is a security saver, with inconsistent income, they might actually be hoarding their money and not ever having any fun, which I mean, I think that we all need to have some fun in life. So I really think that I help people really fully understand, especially with unpredictable income, how to hone in on what their financial attachment style is and to help them create financial freedom and being fulfilled. So the other thing is when you have unpredictable income, understanding your financial attachment style is really important because with unpredictable income, inconsistent income, if you're a security saver, then you might just hoard money too much, not having any fun, or it's you don't think that you could invest more money in your business because you don't have enough. And sometimes you have to have that fine line of what is enough and what can I actually be putting back into my business to invest in my business and myself? Somebody that might be an experienced creator like me with inconsistent income could have a big, huge paycheck, maybe their first time that they ever made 6 figures in 1 month or something like that, and say, oh, I have all this money. I'm going to go on this trip. I'm going to do all these things without really looking at, do we have enough in our fund to be able to sustain the next 3 to 6 months if I don't have any more income that comes in. And a gift giver, same kind of thing. Oh, I just got all of this money and I want to give these gifts. So I'm going to go and do all this and buy all these things for people. And then you feel like when you don't have income coming in consistently, maybe you've had a few low months or a few months that you're not making any revenue, then you feel guilty and bad because you can't give gifts. And it makes you feel like less of a person. And so understanding your attachment styles and creating the rules and boundaries around that are going to help you have more financial success. So then also somebody that might be a practical provider, they're going to just make sure that they're always planning, that they're always doing everything, and maybe taking on too much because now it's, hey, if we had a couple months that we didn't have any income come in or not enough, I'm so focused on what I'm doing that I'm not allowing other people to help me and I'm not allowing the kind of freedom to set in and not really being able to enjoy life. And then our freedom facilitators, I find that with them, like really avoiding everything, freedom facilitators just want to avoid knowing anything, or maybe they understand it for themselves, but they really don't want anybody else to come in. And it could be a detriment to them because they need help with certain things, and being able to work with somebody that is a freedom facilitator, helping them create the rules and boundaries around their money and creating these consistent habits that they can keep is really what's going to allow everybody to have that financial success and feel fulfilled as well. A lot of people ask me, like, why is it important to create rules and boundaries based on your personality or based on your financial attachment style? And I found that it's important because the way that we're set up as humans, we're not meant to be in this box, right? We're not meant to do the exact same thing, the exact same way that society or everybody says that we have to do, right? I talk a lot about the three things that we need to know. One is everything is made up. Two, there are no rules. And three, no one is in charge. So if that's true, we get to create the life that we want to live. We create the rules that we want to live by, and our rules dictate who is in charge of us. And when I say that, it doesn't mean that we don't follow rules, because I do think rules are really important. Rules and boundaries for your money is very important. What I'm saying when I say that everything is made up and there are no rules is we need to create the rules and boundaries that pertain to us personally, because then we're going to stick to them. If we have rules and boundaries that we don't agree with, or what do you mean that I have to do this all the time, every single month, every single week, and that's not my personality, then you're not going to stick to it and you're just setting yourself up for failure. So creating the rules and boundaries that are pertinent to you, your personality, your financial attachment style, I think is the most important thing that you can do. So, a way that people can create more emotional and financial stability within this arena of unpredictable income is something that when I work with clients one on one, we really get to understand, again, your attachment style and creating the rules and boundaries. I help you to switch from, hey, I'm a realtor and this is my job, to this is my business. And when we can also understand how we're attached to money, we create this program and this strategy for you. I created what I call the Money Clarity Playbook. And in that playbook, I'm giving you the guidance, the step by step thing of how do you create this foundation. And to be honest, this is the most work when you work with me one on one. And it's also the hardest thing to do because we're so used to doing things the way that we've always done them. But if you want to create change and you really want to make a difference in your emotional and financial foundation, we need to understand the foundation of everything. We need to understand how you're attached to money. We also need to understand what are your values and what are your goals. And then we can create a plan that's going to allow you to feel fulfilled. And it starts with the foundation of how much money do you spend every month? What is necessary to live, for you to live in your personal lifestyle and in your business, so that we could set that aside. And it's something that to me is the most powerful part of creating your financial legacy. And it's the hardest because we're creating change. We're doing things different. But what the great part about that is we're creating a plan that is in alignment with who you are, how you're attached with money, and that's also in alignment with your goals and values. So, what financial peace might look like for somebody with unpredictable income would be that you have your 6 months to a year's worth of expenses saved in a separate account. That it means that you don't have to worry about if you have 3 months of no income coming in, no revenue coming in, that you're able to actually still pay your bills, still be able to go out and market yourself. And once you create that peace, once you really have this, I don't have to stress, then it allows you to also feel more fulfilled. And I also find in different ways, people are motivated differently, right? Some people are actually motivated by the stress of, oh, I need to do this, I need to do this. And in my community and or working with me one-on-one, we create a sense of consistency, right? So our consistently disciplined habits are what help us get that foundation and maintain that foundation, which then creates peace. So when we can have this within ourselves, knowing bills are paid, knowing I can still go on vacation, I can still pay for tuition for my children, I can still give back to the community, I can still create these experiences for myself and somebody else, then it just frees up the bigger impact that we can make as individuals. And so when we can create that impact for people, that's really what gives us our fulfillment, right? So my mission is to change how the world sees money. And if I can impact one person, then that person could impact somebody else. And when I make an impact, it's not just on the one client that I'm working with. My goal is that I'm impacting them in a way that they're also trickling down and impacting their family. So for me, changing how the world sees money is not just something that's going to be happening today. It's something that 20 years from now, somebody's going to come up to me and say, "Oh my gosh, you helped so and so." And that just trickled down to how our whole family now has this great relationship with money. And I'm really helping myself and others to have this legacy impact. And to me, that's the most powerful, fulfilled thing that I can do. If this resonated with you, this is the exact work I do at Money Clarity & Co., helping people develop emotional intelligence around money and understand their financial attachment styles. And once you see your patterns, things start to make a lot more sense. If you want to figure out your financial attachment style, grab the link in the description and I'll send it your way.